Good afternoon. Today is October 19th. This is Mario of the Global Weather Trends and News channel, and I'm back. Fortunately, I had a slow PC and slow issues here and there, but enough with excuses. But again, my channel is here to go over what's trending, what's out there on a global scale. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there. Um, and I've taken a lot of information and I put it into one website I think that can help out too. So one of the things I always talk about in the beginning of the YouTube videos is the UV index. And you might have noticed lately when you were in the sun this past summer in the United States that it would tingle, like it would burn, little, not a burn, but like a tingle. Well, that's the UV ray. And right now, the UV rays move down to the southern hemisphere below the equator because it's summer. Basically, we're heading to winter while the southern hemisphere, South America, Southern Africa, and Australia are going down. And you'll notice the UV ray is very expanded from a plus 11 all the way from here in this range here. So it was up there earlier. But one of the things now we're going through the United States is low to moderate because there's a lot of cloud cover, except for the southwest, which is always hot. But you'll notice the extreme is very low, so that means there's a lot of clouds, cooler temperatures, and in the middle, it's like they're always cooking, basically here. So the next website I like to use is the Ventusky. I like this one. On a global scale, this tells you what activity is going on from the very cold temperatures from Antarctica, Arctic to Siberia on here, and then you'll notice again the middle of the southern hemisphere is cooking, especially Australia and here, and a little bit of you could tell the cold front here with the temperatures, and all. That's what I like about this. You can put your mouse all over the place and see the winds on here. The other thing I like about this too is the participation, and this tells you the water vapor, the water clouds, any cyclones on there. So it's a great map to look at any cold fronts, any water, snow too. The other one I like to talk about is RSOE, has disaster global map. I like this one because on a global scale, you'll know this guy's in Hungary. I give him 100%. They put out there any information that affects the earth. From you'll see squiggly lines, which is earthquakes, active earthquakes, to biohazards, and to a lot of activity on there. And the one thing I like to look at, and if you look below, you'll see what's going on. The latest things, the weather that the national TV weather doesn't tell you. Extreme weather, hazmat, fires, and things like that. That you could look here without counting on the news, national news. The other side I like to talk about, and this is one thing, is the ground solar minimum. You'll notice the extremes of weathers with the hurricanes and the droughts, and especially these hurricanes that just came around. But I'm going to play a little thing about the ground solar minimum. Just hear just a little bit of it. Well, I'll let you continue with that, but this is great. The news doesn't tell you about this, but the sun is actually going to sleep. It goes through cycles, like our seasons on a yearly basis. Well, the sun goes through its cycles usually every 10 years. And now the sunspots are decreasing. Well, that's why the Earth is getting a little agitated on a lot of things. That's why the extreme of the Earth is in weather and hailstorms and things like that, because more solar radiation is coming through. And that in turn is how solar storms affect human consciousness and well-being. I like this website here, basically, because one thing to understand is how we feel. The sun affects us quite a bit, and it says here, you might be surprised to learn solar storms can affect your emotional health and consciousness. Our scientific studies have confirmed the link between solar activity and our physical and emotional being. So that's the thing there. Now, one of the big things you'll notice if you have these um, corresponding items with yourself is anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, other emotional disorders. So when the sun is very active, it sends more spots. That's why we feel these basically headaches and fatigues. When the sun is cooled down, there is some activity, but the activity gets a little extreme on there, and we'll talk about that later. So a lot of this is entwined. Again, I like to look at things on a global scale, some trends and things like that, but especially the grand solar minimum, and we'll talk more about that and how solar storms affect us. But I do thank you for your time. I'm only limited due to my channel's new, but if not, you have a good day. Take care.